So this is 2018 paper 2 and we're going to look at question 2 and it is a coordinate geometry question. So here you've got 3 points of P, Q and R and they're the vertices or the corners of the triangle shown, and you've got the point U which is 4 to 6 and that's the midpoint of P to Q, and then the point V then is the midpoint of P to R. So first thing they're asking you is to find the coordinates of V. So to find the coordinates of V, you know that that is the midpoint. So we're going to use the midpoint formula for P to R. So that's x1 plus x2 over 2, comma, y1 plus y2 over 2. And we're going to use P and R, so they're going to be x1, y1, and we're going to use x2 and y2. So 1 for the first coordinate and then 2 for the second coordinate, x followed by y, because that's the order of the coordinates. So all I'm going to do there then is add x1, which is 7, plus x2, which is 11, and then I'm going to divide that by 2, and then I have 10 plus 4, and I'm going to divide that by 2, and then that gives you 7 add 11 is 18. 18 divided by 2 then is 9. And then 10 add 4 is 14 divided by 2 is 7. So that is point V. So 9, 7 is point V. So that is your midpoint. Then for part B, so show by using slopes that UV is parallel to QR. So the only way that these lines can be parallel to each other is if their slopes are equal. So their slopes must be equal. So in order for them to be equal, then we need to use the slope formula. So we're going to use m is equal to y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to use u and v this time. So u is 4, 6. And v is just what I found, which was 9, 7. And I'm going to label them as x1, y1, x2, y2. So I'm just going to sub them in. So then that is 7 minus 6. And then we have 9 take away 4. So that is 1 over 5. So that's 1/5. So then you just need to do the same thing for Q to R. So then Q is 1, 2, and then R is 11, 4. So x1, y1, x2, y2. So what I can do now is do the same thing. So 4 minus 2 over 11 minus 1. So that's 2 over 10, which is 1/5 as well. So you can say that 1/5 is parallel to 1/5 as slopes are equal. So there is a mark going for an explanation or just a conclusion, and so bear that in mind. And those symbols there are parallel. For part C then, so we have 3 points there of P, Q and R, and this time we're asked to find the area. So the area, you can use half the base times the perpendicular height, but that's not going to be applicable in this case. So you're going to have to use the area formula for a triangle in the coordinate geometry section. So that is a half, and then you have x1, y2 minus x2 by y1. Okay, so these two side by side means that you're multiplying. These bars around them just means that you take the absolute value. So if you get a negative value, just include the positive value regardless. So what you can notice here is that you have 3 points, and this only allows for 2 coordinates. So it must mean that you must translate or move coordinates. So we've got 7, 10, 1, 2, and 11, 4. So what I'm going to do there is I'm going to translate them or move them. So I need to move 1 to 0, 0. You can move any of them to 0, 0. So sorry, just one of them. So 7 goes to 0 by taking away 7, and then 10 goes to 0 by taking away 10. So that means you're going to do the same on the next one. So that's minus 7, minus 10, and then minus 7, and then minus 10 here as well. So this is translating or moving all of the coordinates. So 1 minus 7 is minus 6, and then 2 minus 10 is minus 8, and then 11 take away 7 is 4, and then 4 take away 10 is minus 6. So I've translated them or moved them all, so one of the points now is on 0, 0. Then I can label them as x1, y1, x2, y2, and just sub them into your equation. So we have a half, and then we have x1, which is minus 6, multiplied by y2, which is minus 6. Then we have x2, which is 4, times y1, which is minus 8. And at this point you can put all this into your calculator. Remember to include the brackets for multiplication. And so this gives you 36, and then this gives you minus 32. But as I said, you can put this all into your calculator, that's absolutely no problem. So you will then get 68, and then you just do half of 68, and that is 34, and that's 34 units squared. Okay, and that's it. For question 2 part D, so this time we have the points, so the point S is the image of the point Q under the translation of U to V in that direction. So U to V, so when we look at U and V, so U is 4, 6, and then V was our midpoint, which was 9, 7. So when we look at the translation or movement, we have to see what do we get from Q. So Q was 1, 2. They're asking you how you're going to find S when you have the same translation or movement. So here 4 to 9 was an addition of 5. So you're going to add 5 here as well. So that's going to give you 6. And then if we look at 6 to 7, that's adding 1. So we're going to add 1 here as well. And when we do 2 add 1, then we get 3. Okay, so that's 6, 3. That's the answer that you're looking for. And you know it's a translation or movement because of the symbol above UV.